At a glance, it'd be easy to look at Escaping Wonderland and write it off as a lightweight cartoony game for kids. But if you do that, you'd be missing out on something that's severely lacking in VR, genuinely great storytelling. I'm live open mic, let's talk about it. Escaping Wonderland is a new third-person story-based adventure from Cortopia Studios and Beyond Frames for MetaQuest. First up, full disclosure, I was provided a key by Beyond Frames, but that will not have any bearing on my review. Anyone who has seen my previous game reviews can attest to this. Cortopia's previous games include Wands and Wands Alliances, which were magic-based competitive shooters, and this game's predecessor, Down the Rabbit Hole. Like Down the Rabbit Hole, this game brings the world of Wonderland to life in a diorama-style environment where the world literally exists all around you. New areas open up as you discover them through the roughly 4 to 6 hour campaign. I should point out here that even though these two games exist in the same universe, you do not need to have played Down the Rabbit Hole before playing Escaping Wonderland. You play as a character named Molly who finds herself in Wonderland with no memory of how she got there. On top of that, the first character you meet, Mr. Mole, informs you that you've been there before and you two actually know one another. After Molly expresses her desire to get back home, Mr. Mole sends you on a quest to find missing parts of a machine to do just that. From here, the game takes you through 8 different locations where you meet iconic Wonderland characters like the Mad Hatter, the Cheshire Cat, and the twins Tweedledee and Tweedledum. In each location, you're asked to solve some environmental puzzles like repairing a steam pipe system. You also have to recover any number of items that the character asks you to get in exchange for the machine part you're looking for or more information on where to find it. Gameplay wise, it's very straightforward and easy to pick up, but the game does provide you with up to 3 hints per puzzle if you get stuck. On top of that, each of the 8 locations have pieces of a picture scattered around, an audio cassette, which as an older gamer I appreciate it, and a pair of collectible glasses. The pictures and cassettes serve to fill out Molly's journal and unlock her missing memories. I'm a sucker for games that drip feed you lore like this, so I was inclined to find every single bit of it. You're not required to find all of these, and the story still works if you just stick to the necessary tasks, but they really flesh out Molly's character and add to the overall experience. Puzzle games can be tricky because frankly, unless you're a completionist or a speedrunner, you're likely to only play a game like this one time. Once you know how to solve everything in the full story, the magic is sort of lost, and that goes for really any puzzle game. Having said that, Escaping Wonderland excels in the delivery of its story. The little bits and pieces of lore in every new location kept me wanting to push forward and learn more. Every time I listened to a cassette, and they're maybe a minute long, I wanted more. Your journal also gets a new written entry from Molly every time you find a missing piece of that location's picture. The devs did a great job of slowly adding story as you progressed in the game. On top of that, all the other elements in the game really come together to keep you interested and moving forward at a pace you're comfortable with. All the characters are voice acted with really strong performances. Frankly, it sucks to spend a lot of time reading when you're in VR, and that's mostly kept to a minimum here. Really, it's just your journal entries and the hints if you choose to use those. There's also a narrator to add to the fairy tale motif that this game is really going for. If you interact with a major character, the game will shift you to first person so you can see the character up close and feel a deeper sense of connection with them. I can't overstate how well the game is paced. I 100%ed the game on my first playthrough and it took about 6 hours in total. This is a really lean game without a lot of fluff or padding like you might see in other games, and I can honestly say I wasn't frustrated or bored at any point. Having said that, if you do find yourself stuck, Cortopia will have walkthroughs available on their YouTube channel to help you out. In terms of visuals, Escaping Wonderland isn't going to knock your socks off, but everything was colorful and sharp when I was playing on Quest 3. It really did feel like I was in the middle of a storybook with the pages all around me. Unlike similar games like Ghost Giant and Moss, you can find these branches to rotate and move the world closer to or further away from you. I found myself looking into every nook and cranny to find puzzle pieces, some of which were very well hidden. This is great because a lot of third-person VR games can leave you feeling pretty detached or removed from what's happening in front of you. Immersion is a big part of the VR experience, and Escaping Wonderland clearly understands that. You're not playing the character yourself like in the Moss games or Ven VR Adventure or Mixture, but your head isn't just a camera here. You really do feel like a part of the world. Now in general, I've been pretty let down by a lot of the story-based games in VR. I think the added benefit of immersion opens up some great opportunities in VR for storytelling, but a lot of games fall short on this with really shallow, uninteresting characters or just a lack of story overall. Or they just don't even bother with story and just focus on action and guns and co-op and most of the time zombies. This is not the case with Escaping Wonderland. Frankly, it's the best narrative VR game I've played in 2024 thus far. I prefer single player games, and this year's felt pretty heavily skewed towards multiplayer, so this was a breath of fresh air. Having said that, like all games, this is not going to be for everyone. If you're an action junkie and you're in VR for the movement and the physicality, this is not going to be a game for you. There's no combat to be found here, no leaderboards, no grinding, nothing like that. What you will find here is top tier VR storytelling, a really compelling character journey with Molly, and some interesting if not overly difficult puzzles to solve. At $20, I think the game is appropriately priced. That's a going rate for most decent indies in VR, and I got more entertainment and value out of the 6 hours I spent playing this than like the dozens of hours I spent in other games with really repetitive gameplay loops and boring cosmetics and collectibles. If you found this review helpful, drop me a comment and a like, subscribe to keep my content in your feed, and find me on most social platforms at Live Open Mic. Catch you on the next one.